Um, I'll tell you, this group is an incredible group. This is my third missionary trip. Really, the first one was with my dad in Venezuela, and it turned out that we did not go do medical missions. It was just more of a prayer walk. Then the second one was into Honduras, and that's where I got to know some of these ladies and gentlemen a whole lot better. And then I missed last because my father passed last year, and I was able to go this year. And I'll tell you, once again, missions is it's a change in vision. And these really are the hardest working people who laugh every step of the way. And I say that, and that's really the way these people are. They work tirelessly. And we get up and it's like nobody has the attitude, well, that's not my job. We all do whatever it is that we feel like we can do, and when we finish our job, we go back and we just continue to just do. They're the hardest working people, and they laugh every step of the way. It's a joy. Now, part of that's because Ron and his one-liners will just take you down. But but it really is, and it's an amazing thing. But it's a change in vision. And what I mean by that, I'll have two illustrations of that. One is that Amy had mentioned, one of them I'll tell you is Frank and I were in a room, and I've loved Frank all my life, and so one of the highlights was going and spending a room and doing medicine with Frank, and that was truly a delight to watch him love on these people and to take care of them and to share the gospel with them before they left, and that was really a highlight. The other thing is I had a lady who came up. I happened to be walking out of the room, and the lady came and she said if I would make a house call. I love that kind of stuff because that's really when you get out of your element, and everything else is pretty well contained. So I took Frank. I said, you going to make a house call? And he said, yeah, I'll take a house call. And so Mandy Chavers went with us, and so I grabbed her on the way, and we didn't know what to expect. We walked in among just a real desolate home, and trying to watch our step because it was real wet and muddy and stuff like that. And so we walked into this house, and in the house was a young man, I'd say maybe about 8 or 9, and he had been playing in the yard, playing soccer, and he had somehow injured his leg. And so Frank and I were sitting there, and Mandy, we were trying to figure out if it was broken or not because we don't have x-ray vision, and that was the only means of x-ray we had if we had x-ray vision. And so we kind of manipulated the ankle and kind of felt that maybe it wasn't anything displaced, and so we felt like it might have been just a little sprain. And so all of a sudden I told the mom, I said, we'll be back. And so as we left the house, I had this prayer because we had no way to make a splint, we had no anything. And so I just breathed this little prayer under my breath, and I said, Dear God, give me vision to see what I can do to help. And as we kind of make our way up, we go back to the schoolyard, and they have the little, I guess Frank said it might have been their science projects, but they're little 2-liter bottles, 2-liter plastic bottles, and they were cut into, and they were, the base part, they were growing plants. So I grabbed one of those, and I had some bubble wrap, and we went to the pharmacy, and there was some sacks that they were giving these kids, giving all the medicine in. So we walked on back down, and Frank said, let me get me a Lidoderm patch. I don't know where you got all that Lidoderm patch, but he was patching everybody. And so we went down to this house, and so what happened was I put the young man up on the little on the bench, and so I just I looked, and we placed the Lidoderm patch on his ankle, and then I threw the plant out, and I kind of washed it out with some water, and I just sliced it down, and I made a splint, and then we tied it with the bags. We made a little string and tied it with the bag, and then put a little ace wrap. And the bottom line is, I'm not smart enough to have figured that out. God Almighty gave me vision and answered the question, or gave me vision to be able to help this person. And so it was a great time. It was just a great thing to watch him work and to be part of it. So the first point I want to make is the fact that God uses ordinary things that can be used for extraordinary things if you have the vision to see. The second thing I want to make a point, and that is Amy kind of alluded to this, we were in the church. His name is Greg and Kathy Brown. He is an executive chef. He lost his job, downturn of the market. Somebody in the church had asked him to come on a medical mission trip, much like we went. And he said, well, it's 8 days for the trip. I don't even have a passport. How can I go? So 4 days later, he has a passport. Now, you and I both know that is darn near next to impossible. It takes 3 months to get a passport, but he got a passport. He did hear the voice, and he did go down there. And as he was telling the story, I pulled Kyle Chavers over because he talked like he was from Birmingham, and everybody else had this funny accent. They were all Spanish-speaking, and I didn't know it. And so Kyle and I are standing there, and the man looks at me, and he says, in Birmingham, Alabama, we didn't need God. He said, we had a refrigerator that was full. We had gas in our tank. And we didn't feel that we really felt like we needed God. Of course, he's not really, he's being a little bit, teasing and tongue-in-cheek. He said, but these people, they have a need for God because they depend on Him for Monday breakfast, Monday supper, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and when they break out to worship on Sunday, it's because He has met their need every day, every meal, and in every way. And so they worship as if they know Him. They worship as if they love Him. They worship as if He had died for them. And so he said, and now we are like them. We have left it all. We've sold everything. We just bought it. We just had a condo. And we are now, this is our first Sunday in church. And we are living just like they are. Kyle Chavers, standing next to me, reaches in his backpack, and he pulls out an envelope and he hands it to the man. And the man looks shocked and he says, what's this? He says, just put it in your pocket. I'm overcome by that. And so I go out to the car and I get and God just says, give him everything you got. I had some couple American dollars and some Casales, and so I just reached and I had everything. I still had my credit card. I can get more money. But yet I went back, and the vision that I saw when I was obedient to God, I reached back and I just got everything I had. And I reached back in, and had I not obeyed God, I would have not seen my second vision. The second vision was as I walk in to the church to give Greg my money. His wife is sitting there facing the front of the church, and she is weeping of the faithfulness of God to meet their need. I put my money in his pocket, and he said, what's this for? And I said, because God told me to. Second vision. I am, you are, the fingerprint, the hand of God Almighty. I am, you are. The vehicle by which God makes good on His promises to His people. God says, I'll take care of you. So He stirs my heart. He stirs your heart to do what you can. You may not be able to go to Guatemala, but you know what? You give, and you become a conduit by which God makes good on His promises. Those people had more money in their pocket because God gave me vision and helped me to see that that was my part to play. Kyle and I had a conversation, and we were kind of blown away by the whole thing. And Kyle and I looked at each other, and we just started, he said, we've given them nothing. I mean, it was maybe a couple $100. And yet, that will sustain them until the next obedient child of God comes to deliver from the hand of God more provision. Wow. I got it. I saw it. It's real, and He's doing it today as we speak, meeting the needs of His children by the hand, the mouth of His other children. You may not be in Guatemala, but you've got need. You've got need for encouragement. You've got need for someone to come and show you love. How do you do it? By the children of God being obedient to the Master and the voice of God, and you love each other, and you care for each other. What a wonderful, precious time. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, Pastor, for impressing upon us the need to be missions. You don't have to go to Guatemala. Tomorrow we'll get up, and mission field starts in Dothan, Alabama. But to see yourself as a fingerprint and a hand of God is a blessing, and I thank you.